It's always fascinating to see just how much celebrity kids take after their famous parents, and some resemblances are so striking, it's like hitting rewind on a time machine. Take Chelsea Clinton's daughter, for example. Her grace, poise, and expressions mirror her mom at the same age. But she's not the only one. From tiny mannerisms to jaw-dropping look-alike moments, these second-generation stars are growing right before our eyes, channeling their iconic parents' charm, talent, and spirit. Whether it's the boldness of a young Reese Witherspoon's daughter or the quiet charisma of a mini Tom Hanks, these celebrity kids are living proof that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Past Paradis is diving into the most adorable and uncanny celebrity kid comparisons that will have you doing double takes and smiling the whole way through. Meryl Streep and Mamie Gummer, both at 35 years old. Meryl Streep and her daughter Mamie Gummer were both 35 years old at critical times in their lives and jobs. This showed how talented and charismatic they both were. Many people think that Meryl Streep is one of the best actors of her time, and by the time she was in her mid-30s, she was already a Hollywood star. By this age, she had given famous performances in movies like Kramer vs. Kramer, 1979, and The French Lieutenant's Woman, 1981, which earned her praise from critics and several Academy Awards. She pioneered the movie business because she could play complicated roles with depth and realism. In the meantime, Mamie Gummer has made her way in the show business just like her mother did. By age 35, Mamie had a wide range of playing credits, such as her lead part in the medical drama Emily Owens, M.D., and her regular roles in The Good Wife and its spin-off The Good Fight. She also made a name for herself in theater, and her acts on Broadway won her praise. Even though people will always compare Mamie to her famous mother, she has consistently shown how talented she is and how dedicated she is to her work. Interestingly, both mother and daughter look a lot alike. This was made clear when Mamie played a younger version of Meryl's character in the movie Evening. Their work together in 2015's Ricky and the Flash showed even more how well they got along on screen. As of 2025, Mamie is still working and is a mother of two. This indicates that the Streep-Gummer family has a strong history of ability and resilience. John Lennon and Sean Lennon, both at 30 years old. John and Sean Lennon were at very different points when they were 30, but their music and art left lasting marks on the world. At age 30, John Lennon was at the top of his game as a member of the Beatles. His records, like Sgt. Pepper, had changed the music business forever. Abbey Road and Lonely Hearts Club Band. At this point in his life, he started his solo career creating songs like Imagine and Give Peace a Chance that were both deeply personal and political. He and Yoko Ono had a great time together as artists and people, and they used their fame to fight for peace and social justice. Although John's life was cut short at age 40, he left behind a legacy that inspires people today. However, Sean Lennon, who was 30 years old then, was making his way in the world while his famous father was still alive. By this age, Sean had already put out his first record, Into the Sun, and then Friendly Fire, which showed off his unique mix of experimental and indie rock sounds. He had also worked with many artists, including his mother, Yoko Ono, and helped keep his father's memory alive by re-releasing John's songs. Sean has discussed the honor and difficulty of being John Lennon's son and matching his goals with the duty to respect his father's memory. As of 2025, Sean is still making songs and commenting on society. This shows that the Lennon heritage is still alive and well. Bruce Willis and Rumor Willis, both at age 25 years old. Bruce Willis and his daughter Rumor Willis were both 25 years old and undergoing significant changes in their lives, but in different ways. At this age, Bruce was about to make it big in Hollywood. He was about to go from working on TV shows as a child to becoming a worldwide action star. His part in the hit TV show Moonlighting showed off his charm and funny timing, paving the way for his famous performance in Die Hard, 1988, which cemented his place as a leading man in the movie business. People liked Bruce's rough charm and easygoing personality, which made him one of the most bankable stars of his time. At the same time, Rumor Willis, who was 25 then, was making a name for herself as a skilled actor and performer, moving out from under the fame of her parents, Bruce Willis and Demi Moore. Rumor had already been in several movies by this age, such as The House Bunny and Sorority Row. She had also made her Broadway appearance in Chicago, where her performance as Roxy Hart earned her praise. As an actor, she showed how versatile she was and how much she loved her job by taking on more difficult parts. The father and daughter are very close. Rumor often talks about how much she admires her father's strength and work ethic, especially since he has had health problems lately. As of 2025, Bruce, who is now 70 years old, is being treated for frontotemporal dementia with the help of his family. On the other hand, Rumor enjoys motherhood and works hard at her job, showing that the Willis family is strong and determined. Demi Moore and Rumor Willis, both at 25 years old. At age 25, Demi Moore and her daughter, Rumor Willis, were going through big changes in their lives that showed how unique and strong they were as a family. At this point, Demi was almost a celebrity. She had already made waves in Hollywood with parts in movies like About Last Night, 1986, and St. Elmo's Fire, 1985. Her stunning good looks and undeniable acting skills made her one of the best actors of her time, setting the stage for her famous roles in Ghost, 1990, and A Few Good Men, 1992. People liked how Demi could balance being vulnerable and strong in her parts, which made her a popular name. At the same time, Rumor Willis, who was 25 then, was making her name in the film business and coming out from under the fame of her parents, Demi Moore and Bruce Willis. There were movies like The House Bunny, 2008, and Sorority Row, 2009, that Rumor had already shown she could play a variety of parts by this age. She also made her Broadway bow in Chicago, where her role as Roxy Hart earned her praise. Rumor's journey was marked by her desire to make a name for herself as a skilled artist, separate from the memory of her parents. The mother and daughter are close and often help each other through hard times. As of 2025, Demi is still getting praise for her work, including an Oscar nod for The Substance. On the other hand, Rumor enjoys motherhood and is working hard to advance her job. Their shared strength and devotion to their work show how the Moore Willis family has left a lasting impact. Goldie Hawn and Kate Hudson, both at 30 years old. Goldie Hawn and her daughter Kate Hudson were doing very well in their jobs when they were 30. They both had a lot of charm and ability. At this age, Goldie had already made a name for herself as a comic star in Hollywood. Her big break came in 1969 with Cactus Flower, which won her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. Her bubbly nature and perfect comic timing made her a beloved figure in the entertainment business. She paved the way for famous roles in movies like Private Benjamin, 1980, and Overboard, 1987. Goldie's ability to mix fun and genuine feeling struck a chord with viewers and cemented her position as a leading lady. At the same time, Kate Hudson, who was 30 then, was making her way in Hollywood just like her mother had done. Kate had already won praise for her part as Penny Lane in Almost Famous, 2000, which landed her a Golden Globe Award and a nod for an Academy Award. People often say that Kate looks and behaves like her mother. However, Kate was an outstanding actor and she could shine in many parts, from comedies like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, 2003, to more serious ones. The mother and daughter are very close and often tell each other how much they admire their achievements and beliefs. As of 2025, Goldie, now 79 years old, continues to inspire people with her charitable work, and Kate, a mother of 3, mixes her acting job with her health brand. This shows that the Hawn-Hudson family has a history of ability, strength, and love. Melanie Griffith and Dakota Johnson, both at 25 years old. Melanie Griffith and her daughter, Dakota Johnson, both 25, went through critical times that showed off their ability and charm. Melanie was already making news in Hollywood at this age, thanks to her big break in 1984's Body Double, which won her praise from critics and made her a rising star. Her powerful performance in 1986's Something Wild cemented her image as a flexible actor who could show weakness and strength. Melanie's unique mix of sweetness and sass made her stand out, which led to her famous part in Working Girl, 1988, for which she was nominated for an Academy Award. At the same time, 25-year-old Dakota Johnson was about to become famous worldwide for her part as Anastasia Steele in the 50 Shades of Grey series. How she played the complicated and mysterious character showed that she could control the screen and connect with viewers on a deeper level. People thought Dakota looked a lot like her mother because of how naturally beautiful and classy she was, but she quickly showed that she was a great actor in her own right. The mother and daughter are very close and often help each other through hard times and celebrate each other's successes. As of 2025, Melanie's charitable work and memoirs continue to inspire. Dakota, conversely, mixes her playing job with her role as a stepmother and rumors that she is engaged to Chris Martin. Their shared toughness and devotion to their work show how the Griffith-Johnson family has left a lasting mark on the entertainment business. Robert Pine and Chris Pine, both at 30 years old. Robert Pine and his son Chris Pine worked in the entertainment business as 30-year-olds, showing that they both loved playing. At this point in his life, Robert was a well-known face on TV. He had built a steady career with guest spots on hit shows like Gunsmoke, The Virginian, and The Love Boat. The part of Sergeant Joseph Cotrayer in the hit TV show Chips, which ran from 1977 to 1983, gave him his big break and made him known as a reliable and flexible actor. Robert was a recognized figure in Hollywood because he worked hard at his job and could play a wide range of parts. At the same time, Chris Pine, who was 30 then, quickly became famous, following in his father's footsteps but making his own way. At this point in his life, Chris was already known for playing James T. Kirk in the new Star Trek series, which started in 2009. Many people praised his charming performance and modern take on the famous character, which made him a man in Hollywood. Chris's range as an actor was shown by his ability to play both big-budget parts and more complex ones in movies like Unstoppable, 2010, and People Like Us, 2012. The relationship between father and son is very close. Chris often says that Robert taught him to work hard and appreciate the art of acting. In 2025, Robert, now 83 years old, has a more relaxed life, while Chris continues to do well in his work. This shows that the Pine family is known for their ability, humility, and determination. Reese Witherspoon and Ava Philippe, both at 18 years old. Reese Witherspoon and her daughter Ava Philippe were 18 years old and wowed everyone with their beauty and uniqueness, but in different ways. At this age, Reese was almost famous in Hollywood. She had already been in movies like The Man in the Moon, 1991, showing her natural ability and young energy. Her performance won her praise from critics and paved the way for her legendary career, including parts in Legally Blonde, 2001, and Walk the Line, 2005. Reese's drive and hard work were clear even as a teenager, juggling school and her early playing job. At the same time, Ava Philippe, who was 18 then, made her name in modeling and charity work, not acting. Ava had already been in high-profile ads like Rodarte's Fall 2018 lookbook and her mother's lifestyle brand, Draper James, because she looked so much like her mother. Her big moment at Paris's Le Bal des Débutantes was a highlight. She looked beautiful and graceful as she portrayed her family. Ava's love of fashion and dedication to social causes, like helping the Seleni Institute and Enfants Désir, showed her maturity and responsibility. The mother and daughter are very close and often praise and honor each other's accomplishments and beliefs. As of 2025, Reese is still doing well as an actress and director, and Ava is pursuing her artistic interests and speaking out for good causes. This shows that the Witherspoon-Philippe family has a rich ability, beauty, and kindness history. Vanessa Paradis and Lily Rose Depp, both at 20 years old. Vanessa Paradis and her daughter Lily Rose Depp were both 20 years old and wowed everyone with their looks and skills. They showed off their similar charm and artistic flair. By this time, Vanessa was already a well-known name in France. Her hit song, Joe le Taxi, 1987, which made her famous worldwide, was written when she was 14. By the time she was 20, she had also started acting. Her role in Noce Blanche, 1989, won her the prestigious César Award for Most Promising Actress. Vanessa was a popular model because of her airy beauty and one-of-a-kind voice. She was on the covers of major magazines and became the face of Chanel. She is a multi-talented singer because she can easily switch between singing, acting, and modeling. Lily Rose Depp, who was 20 years old, followed in her mother's footsteps and entered the film business. When she was still young, Lily Rose had already become a growing star thanks to her roles in movies like The King, 2019, and Voyagers, 2021. As a Chanel spokeswoman, she became even more of a fashion star, and fans and the media often talked about how much she looked like Vanessa. The mother and daughter are close and usually attend events to support each other's goals. As of 2025, Vanessa's art projects continue to inspire, and Lily Rose is celebrating the success of her part in Nosferatu. This shows that the Paradis Depp family has a history of ability, style, and toughness. Lisa Bonet and Zoe Kravitz, both at 25 years old. At age 25, Lisa Bonet and her daughter Zoe Kravitz wowed the world with their unique looks and artistic skills, showing their exceptional and charismatic qualities. Lisa was well known at this age because of her role as Denise Huxtable on The Cosby Show and its spin-off A Different World. In the late 1980s, she was a cultural hero because of how free-spirited she was and how beautiful she was. Lisa's brave decisions, like her part in the controversial 1987 movie Angel Heart, showed that she was ready to break the rules and follow her artistic vision. Marrying artist Lenny Kravitz and having Zoe changed her life because she had to balance being a mom with her job. At the same time, Zoe Kravitz, who was 25 years old, was making her way in the entertainment business by proving herself as a skilled actress and singer. By this age, Zoe had already given great performances in movies like Mad Max Fury Road 2015 and Divergent 2014, which earned her praise for her range and depth. Her work as a performer with her band, Lola Wolf, showed off even more of her creativity. Zoe looked a lot like her mother, and she was able to combine a modern and classic style, which made her a popular fashion icon. She even worked with Saint Laurent. The mother and daughter are very close and often help each other with their projects. As of 2025, Lisa's work to protect the environment inspires others, and Zoe is celebrating her recent success in the sequel to The Batman. This shows that the Bonet Kravitz family is known for their skill, beauty, and honesty. Cindy Crawford and Kaia Gerber, both at 18 years old. When they were 18, Cindy Crawford and her daughter Kaia Gerber made waves in the fashion world by showing off their looks and skill. At this age, Cindy was already well on her way to becoming one of the most famous supermodels ever. Her name was on the pages of big magazines like Vogue and Harper's Bazaar after she signed with Elite Model Management. In the late 1980s, she became famous worldwide thanks to her unique mole and classic beauty. Cindy was one of the first models to combine high fashion style with approachable charm. At the same time, Kaia Gerber, who was 18 then, was becoming a model like her mother had been. Kaia had already walked the stages for Chanel, Prada, and Versace by this age, and she was praised for how poised and professional she was. Many people thought she looked like Cindy, but Kaia's unique style and modern outlook made her stand out. Kaia had started to try acting and modeling, and her parts in shows like American Horror Stories showed her versatility as an artist. The mother and daughter are very close and often attend events to support each other's goals. As of 2025, Cindy's charitable work and business projects continue to inspire, and Kaia balances her successful job with her work to raise awareness about mental health. This shows that the Crawford-Gerber heritage is one of beauty, skill, and strength. Gigi Hadid and Yolanda Hadid, both at 25 years old. Gigi Hadid and her mother, Yolanda Hadid, were doing very well as models when they were 25. They were both very pretty and talented. At this age, Yolanda was already a well-known model. She was found in her home country of Holland and worked for top designers and brands worldwide. In the 1980s, she was a sought-after figure in fashion because of her beautiful looks and skills. Yolanda's job took her worldwide, and she was known for how elegant and hard she worked at her job. She was also considering starting a family at this point in her life. She would raise 3 children who would follow in her ways. At the same time, Gigi Hadid, who was 25 years old, was at the top of her modeling career. She was already famous worldwide as one of the most recognizable names in fashion. Gigi had been on the covers of many foreign Vogue issues and had walked the runways for big names like Chanel, Versace, and Prada by this age. She became even more of a fashion star when she worked with names like Maybelline and Tommy Hilfiger. Fans and people who work in the fashion business loved Gigi because she can mix high fashion ads with a real-life social media presence. The mother and daughter have a close relationship. Yolanda is proud of all that Gigi has done, and Gigi says that her mother has taught her to work hard. As of 2025, Yolanda is still a health and wellness advocate, and Gigi is a mother and model. This shows that the Hadid family is beautiful, strong, and successful. Kate Moss and Lila Grace Moss Hack, both at 20 years old. Kate Moss and her daughter Lila Grace Moss Hack were making significant steps in the fashion world when they were 20. They showed off their shared beauty and fame. At this point, Kate had already become famous all over the world. Her thin, unique body had changed the modeling world forever. Kate became famous when she was 14 years old. She was the face of Calvin Klein and was on the pages of prominent fashion magazines like Vogue. She was a leader in her field because she could represent the grunge style of the time while still keeping a classic grace. By age 20, Kate had become a cultural star and supermodel. She had changed fashion trends and set new beauty standards. Lila Grace Moss Hack, who was 20 then, followed her mother's path as a model while making her way in the business. By this age, Lila had already walked the stages for high-end names like Fendi, Versace, and Miu Miu, and she was praised for how poised and professional she was. Her ads for Calvin Klein and Marc Jacobs made it clearer that she was a rising star. People often compared Lila to her mother because she looked so much like her, but her current style and support for fashion, which includes everyone, make her stand out. The mother and daughter have a close relationship. They often go to events together and support each other's goals. As of 2025, Kate Moss's work in fashion and charity continues to inspire, and Lila mixes her fast-growing job with her studies at Parsons School of Design. This shows the Moss family is a heritage of beauty, ability, and new ideas. Madonna and Lordis Leon, both at 25 years old. At age 25, Madonna and her daughter Lordis Leon made waves in their fields, showing how charismatic and unique they were. At this point, Madonna was almost a success. Her self-titled debut record, Madonna, came out in 1983 and had hits like Holiday and Lucky Star. She quickly became a pop star thanks to her daring style, captivating stage personality, and willingness to break rules. By the time she was 25, Madonna not only ruled the music charts, but also changed what it meant to be famous by using her fame to fight against social rules and promote freedom of expression. How she handled her job and image without fear made her famous as the Queen of Pop. At the same time, Lordis Leon, who was 25 then, was making her name in the fashion and entertainment fields. Lordis had already made a name for herself as a model, walking for Versace and Mugler. She was known for how much she looked like her mother. Her ads for Marc Jacobs and Swarovski showed her unique style and power to get people's attention. Lordis also tried her hand at singing and acting, showing how versatile she was as an artist. Lordis grew up in the spotlight of her famous mother, but she has always stressed how independent she is, paying for her college and following her dreams on her terms. The mother and daughter have a close relationship, and Lordis often says that Madonna taught her to work hard and be strong. By 2025, Madonna's music and actions will still be inspiring, and Lordis is doing well as a multi-talented artist. This shows that the Leon family is a tradition of ability, strength, and individuality. Beyonce and Blue Ivy Carter, both at 10 years old. Beyonce and her daughter Blue Ivy Carter showed early signs of their vast potential when they were 10, but in different ways. At this age, Beyonce grew up in Houston, Texas, where her love of music and acting was already evident. She participated in talent shows in her area and often won first place for her strong voice and stage appearance. She spent her formative years getting better at what she did, which helped her become the lead singer of Destiny's Child and a worldwide star. Her parents, who saw her as a star from a young age, encouraged Beyonce's hard work and natural ability. Blue Ivy Carter, who was only 10, was already making a name for herself in show business, just like her mother had done. Blue Ivy had reached goals many could only dream of by this age. For example, she won a Grammy Award for her work on the song Brown Skin Girl from the music of The Lion King, The Gift. People often said she looked a lot like her mother when she was in music videos and public events because of how poised and sure of herself she was. Because Blue Ivy grew up in the public eye and with parental direction, she could pursue her artistic hobbies while still feeling like her own person. The mother and daughter are close, and Beyonce is often proud of Blue Ivy's work. As of 2025, Beyonce still rules the music business, and Blue Ivy grows into a multi-talented artist. This shows the Carter family is full of ability, drive, and inspiration. David Beckham and Brooklyn Beckham, both at 20 years old. David Beckham and his son Brooklyn Beckham were both 20 years old at critical times in their lives, showing how charismatic and driven they were. At this point, David was becoming known as a rising football star. He played for Manchester United and quickly became one of the best midfielders of his time. His accurate free kicks and ability to change the outcome of games on the field were already getting him lots of attention. David was already famous for his style and good looks off the field. He would go on to become a worldwide fashion and sports star. At the same time, Brooklyn Beckham, who is 20 years old, was pursuing his artistic interests and coming out from under the shade of his famous parents to find his own identity. At this point in his life, Brooklyn tried his hand at photography and wrote a book called What I See, which showed how he saw art. The modeling and working with big brands allowed him to show off his unique style and creative vision. While growing up in the public eye, Brooklyn strongly desired to go his own way. He often said that his parents taught him to work hard and be independent. David and Brooklyn are very close. David is proud of all that Brooklyn does, and Brooklyn looks up to his father as an example. As of 2025, David's charitable work and business projects continue to inspire, while Brooklyn looks for new artistic possibilities. This shows that the Beckham family heritage is one of ability, drive, and new ideas. Victoria Beckham and Harper Beckham, both at 10 years old. When they were 10, Victoria Beckham and her daughter Harper Beckham showed early signs of being unique and charming, though in different situations. Victoria grew up in Hertfordshire, England at this age. There, her love of singing and performing began to take shape. There, she learned how to dance and act better at St. Mary's High School and then at Lane Theatre Arts. During her formative years, she was determined to work in show business, leading to her rise as Posh Spice in the popular girl band, the Spice Girls. What Victoria did as a child prepared her for future business, music, and fashion work. At the same time, Harper Beckham, the youngest member of the Beckham family and only 10 years old, was already getting a lot of attention. Harper was often featured in her parents' social media posts, which showed how much she loved fashion and art. She was known for having a pleasant personality and looking stylish. Harper had a close relationship with her mother, as Victoria often talked about their time together, including her interest in design and budding artistic skills. Harper's public education and her parents' direction allowed her to pursue her hobbies while staying grounded. Harper and her mother, Victoria, are very close, and Victoria is often proud of how kind and creative Harper is. Victoria is still doing well as a fashion designer and business owner in 2025, and Harper is growing up to be a brave and imaginative girl. This shows that the Beckham family is a legacy of talent, love, and inspiration. Angelina Jolie and Shiloh Jolie Pitt, both at 15 years old. At age 15, Angelina Jolie and her daughter Shiloh Jolie Pitt showed how unique and creative they were, though in different ways. When she was at this age, Angelina grew up in Los Angeles, California. This is where her love for playing and helping people started to take shape. She went to Beverly Hills High School and then the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute to improve her skills and prepare for her future job in Hollywood. During her formative years, she was determined to break the rules and accept her unique personality. This would later make her one of the most important actors and campaigners of her time. On the other hand, Shiloh Jolie Pitt was already making a name for herself as a young artist and singer when she was only 15. Shiloh had started to pursue her hobbies in dance and fashion, taking a lot of inspiration from her famous mother's style. She was known for how much she looked like her parents. Her red carpet looks like when she wore a reworked version of Angelina's Dior dress to the premiere of Eternals, which showed how confident and unique she is. Training at the Millennium Dance Complex, Shiloh's attention to dance showed how much she loved the arts and wanted to express herself. Shiloh has stayed grounded, even though she grew up in the public eye. This is often attributed to her parents' efforts to give her a healthy upbringing. The mother and daughter have a close relationship, and Angelina is usually proud of Shiloh's achievements. As of 2025, Angelina's charitable work continues to inspire, and Shiloh grows into a diverse artist. This shows that the Jolie Pitt family is a heritage of ability, grit, and honesty. Will Smith and Jaden Smith, both at 20 years old. Will Smith and his son Jaden Smith underwent significant changes when they were 20. This showed how charismatic and talented they both were. Will was almost famous at this age. He was already renowned as a rapper named The Fresh Prince. For the hit song Parents Just Don't Understand with DJ Jazzy Jeff, he won a Grammy Award for Best Rap Performance in 1989. Will was starting to act at this point. He got the lead in the show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which began airing in 1990 and made him famous. His natural ability to make people laugh and his easygoing personality made him a familiar name. This set the stage for his future success as a global movie and singing star. At the same time, 20-year-old Jaden Smith made his name in the entertainment business while juggling his acting and singing jobs. At this point, Jaden had already been in big movies like The Pursuit of Happiness, 2006, and The Karate Kid, 2010, both with his father and by himself. He had also made a name for himself as a singer. His debut record, Sire, came out in 2017 and got good reviews for its unique sound and deep songs. Jaden has a distinctive style and artistic ideas that make him stand out and win him a lot of fans. The father and son are very close and often work together on projects and support each other's goals. In 2025, Will's acting and charity work continue to inspire, and Jaden's success as a versatile artist shows that the Smith family is one of ability, innovation, and strength. Jada Pinkett Smith and Willow Smith, both at 18 years old. Both Jada Pinkett Smith and her daughter Willow Smith were 18 years old, and they showed how unique and creative they were, but in different ways. At this age, Jada was following her dreams of becoming an actress and a musician by going to the Baltimore School for the Arts to improve her skills and get ready for her future job in Hollywood. During her formative years, she was determined to break the rules and accept her unique identity. This would later make her one of the most important actors and directors of her time. By age 18, Jada was already making progress in the entertainment business. She got parts in TV shows like A Different World and started getting ready for her big breaks in movies like Menace to Society, 1993. At the same time, Willow Smith, who was 18 then, was making her way in the fashion and music fields and proving herself to be a versatile talent. Willow had already put out several popular songs by this age, such as Whip My Hair and Transparent Soul, which showed how versatile she was and how well she could connect with fans. As a co-host on the talk show Red Table Talk with her mother and grandma, she showed that she was mature and ready to have deep chats about social problems. Willow is a role model for her age because of her unique style and work for mental health and environmental causes. The mother and daughter are very close and often work together on projects and support each other's goals. At present, 2025, Jada's actions and stories continue to inspire, while Willow's success as a creative force shows that the Smith family is one of ability, grit, and honesty. Tom Hanks and Colin Hanks, both at 30 years old. Tom Hanks and his son Colin Hanks were both going through essential times in their lives at 30 years old, showing how talented and dedicated they were to their work. At this age, Tom was moving from being a funny actor to becoming one of the most flexible ones in Hollywood. By this time, he was well known for his parts in movies like Splash, 1984, and Big, 1988, which showed how he could combine fun and deep feeling. His role in Big got him his first Academy Award nod, which started a long and successful career. Tom was a fan favorite because he was charming and easy to relate to. His work ethic and dedication to his parts were evident even when he was young. At the same time, Colin Hanks, who was 30 then, was making his way in the entertainment business, moving out of his father's shadow to become a successful performer. By this age, Colin had already given great performances in movies like Orange County, 2002, and King Kong, 2005, as well as on TV shows like Roswell and Mad Men. He got praise from critics and a lot of loyal fans for being able to play complicated roles with depth and realism. Colin's documentary, All Things Must Pass, The Rise and Fall of Tower Records, and his other work as a director and producer showed his creativity and versatility. The father and son are very close and often help each other with their projects. As of 2025, Tom's charitable work continues to inspire, and Colin's success as a multi-talented artist shows that the Hanks family tradition is one of ability, humility, and hard work. Clint Eastwood and Scott Eastwood, both at 30 years old. Clint Eastwood and his son Scott Eastwood were going through significant changes in their life at the age of 30, which showed how strong and talented they were. Clint moved from being a TV player in his early years to becoming a Hollywood star at this age. Clint was already well known for his part as Rowdy Yates in the hit TV show, which ran from 1959 to 1965. His rough charm and commanding presence made him stand out, and Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy, beginning with A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, was the movie that made him famous. Clint's unique ability to play challenging, complicated roles made him a leading man in the movie business. Scott Eastwood, who was 30 then, was making his way in Hollywood, moving out of his father's shadow to become a famous actor. Scott has already put great effort into movies like The Longest Ride, 2015, Suicide Squad, 2016, and Pacific Rim Uprising, 2018 by this age. He became known as a rising star because of how versatile he was as an actor and how hard he worked at his craft. Scott says his father taught him to be humble and work hard, which has been very important to his success. The father and son have a close relationship, and Scott often talks about how much he admires Clint's strength and intelligence. Clint Eastwood, who is now 94 years old, has a quieter life in 2025, while Scott's work continues to do well. This shows the Eastwood family tradition of ability, persistence, and honesty. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Patrick Schwarzenegger, both at 25 years old. Arnold Schwarzenegger and his son Patrick Schwarzenegger were both 25 years old at critical times, showing their determination and ambition. Arnold was already famous all over the world for bodybuilding at this age. He had won multiple Mr. Olympia titles, solidifying his place as one of the best bodybuilders ever. His never-ending work ethic and larger-than-life attitude made him a leader and helped him get into Hollywood. Arnold started to look into acting when he was 25 years old. His famous parts in movies like The Terminator, 1984, and Predator, 1987, set the stage for his future work as a movie star. At the same time, Patrick Schwarzenegger, who was 25 years old, made his way in the entertainment business by mixing his acting job with business projects. Patrick had already been in movies like Midnight Sun, 2018, and Moxie, 2021 by this age, which showed how versatile he was and how much he loved his job. He had also started a mosh business with his mother, Maria Shriver, which made protein snacks. This shows how much he cared about health and fitness. Even though Patrick grew up in the shadow of his famous father's career, he has often talked about how he wants to make his name by working on projects that align with his values and interests. The relationship between Arnold and Patrick is very close. Arnold is always proud of what Patrick has done, and Patrick thanks Arnold for teaching him to work hard. As of 2025, Arnold's work to protect the environment continues to inspire. Patrick's success as an artist and business owner shows that the Schwarzenegger name is linked to toughness, creativity, and achievement. Cher and Chaz Bono, both at 30 years old. Cher and her son Chaz Bono underwent significant changes at 30, showing their strength and uniqueness. Cher was already a worldwide star because she was half of the famous team Sonny and Cher. By this time, she had started a successful solo career with hits like Half Breed, 1973, and Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves, 1971, that went straight to the top of the charts. Her one-of-a-kind voice, daring dress choices, and captivating stage personality made her a leader in her field. Cher became a cultural icon because she could change and push the limits of her identity. At the same time, Chaz Bono, who was 30 years old, was on his journey of self-discovery and campaigning. Chaz was born Chastity Bono and emerged as a woman in his early 20s. In 2008, he began to change his gender, which was a very personal choice that made him a well-known supporter of LGBTQ+ rights. Chaz had already written his autobiography, Family Outing, which came out in 1998 and was about coming out and growing up as the child of two famous people. Many people were moved by his bravery in coming out as transgender and fighting for transgender rights, even though he faced problems from society. The family is very close between the mother and son. Cher freely supports Chaz's journey and is proud of his action. As of 2025, Cher's music and charity work continues to inspire, and Chaz is doing well as an actress, writer, and activist. This shows that the Bono family tradition is one of ability, courage, and being yourself. Kirk Douglas and Michael Douglas, both at 35 years old. Kirk Douglas and his son Michael Douglas underwent significant changes when they were 35. This showed how talented and strong they were as a family. Kirk was already a famous leading man in Hollywood at this point in his life, having played important roles in movies like Champion, 1949, The Bad and the Beautiful, 1952, and Lust for Life, 1956. Critics praised him for playing complicated roles with much energy and charm, making him one of his time's most recognized actors. Kirk was a pioneer in the movie business because he worked hard at his job and could play many different parts. At the same time, Michael Douglas, who was 35 years old, was making his way in Hollywood, moving out of his father's shadow to become a famous actor and director. Michael was already well known at this age for his part in the TV show The Streets of San Francisco, 1972 to 1977, and for producing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which won an Academy Award. His many skills as an actor and his ability to find interesting stories showed how talented and dedicated he was to the entertainment business. The relationship between the father and son is close. Kirk is often proud of Michael's achievements, and Michael thanks his father for teaching him to work hard and love stories. Kirk's memory lives on in 2025, and Michael does well as an artist and champion in many areas. This shows that the Douglas family influences Hollywood through ability, persistence, and honesty. Donald Trump and Ivanka Trump both were 25 years old. At age 25, Donald Trump and his daughter Ivanka Trump were going through critical times that showed how ambitious and driven they were. At this age, Donald was building his real estate fortune. He joined his father, Fred Trump's business, which he later changed to the Trump Organization. By this time, Donald had already made a name for himself in the real estate business. He focused on high-profile projects in Manhattan and showed that he was good at branding and making deals. He became a famous businessman and television figure because he was determined and sure of himself. At the same time, Ivanka Trump, who is 25 years old, became known as a versatile worker who could handle her jobs in fashion, business, and the media. Ivanka graduated from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania and worked as an executive vice president at the Trump Organization. She was a key part of growing the company's global reach there. Her business sense and eye for style were also shown by the fact that she had started her clothing and jewelry lines. Ivanka's appearances on her dad's reality TV show, The Apprentice, made her look even more like a calm and capable businessperson. The relationship between the father and daughter is very close. Ivanka often says that Donald had inspired her to work hard and be ambitious. In 2025, Donald Trump will remain controversial in business and politics, while Ivanka will focus on her family and charitable work. This shows that the Trump heritage is one of drive, determination, and rebirth. Chelsea Clinton and Charlotte Clinton Mezvinsky, both at 10 years old. Chelsea Clinton and her daughter, Charlotte Clinton Mezvinsky, were going through essential times that changed their lives when they were 10 years old, but in different ways. This is when Chelsea was growing up. She was growing up in the political glare because her parents were Bill Clinton, the Arkansas governor at the time, and Hillary Clinton, a successful lawyer and champion. Her parents worked hard as public servants when she was growing up in Little Rock, Arkansas. This gave her a strong sense of duty and an interest in the world. Chelsea became interested in politics and social problems at a young age, which set her up for future work in organizing, education, and charity. As for Charlotte Clinton Mezvinsky, She was doing great as the oldest child of Chelsea Clinton and Mark Mesvinsky. She was 10 years old. Charlotte was born into a family that cared greatly about public service and social justice. She was already showing signs of interest and skills. Her love of gymnastics, from admiring Simone Biles, showed her determination and excitement to take on new tasks. Charlotte's relationship with her younger brothers, Aiden and Jasper, showed how caring and helpful she is as a big sister. Charlotte Clinton is the granddaughter of former President Bill Clinton and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. She grew up in the public eye, but her parents stressed the importance of giving her a healthy and stable childhood. As of 2025, Chelsea's work in education and action continues to inspire, and Charlotte grows into a strong and interested young girl. This shows that the Clinton heritage is one of strength, kindness, and a strong desire to improve the world. Barack Obama and Malia Obama, both at 18 years old. Barack Obama and his daughter Malia Obama were going through significant changes in their lives when they were 18. This showed how smart and driven they both were. At this age, Barack was getting ready to be a leader. He started at Occidental College in Los Angeles and then moved to Columbia University in New York City. As he began to learn more about political science and foreign affairs, it was clear that he was deeply interested in social justice and helping others. Barack's early years were marked by his desire to understand how complicated society is and his desire to make a difference. These traits would later shape his work as a U.S. Senator and the 44th President of the United States. At the same time, Malia Obama, who was 18 at the time, was enjoying her freedom and following her artistic interests. Malia had finished high school and taken a year off before going to Harvard to study film and media, which she was interested in. Her jobs at well-known television companies like HBO and the Weinstein Company showed how much she wanted to learn and make her way. Malia grew up in the spotlight as the daughter of a past president, but she showed a strong sense of self and perseverance. This is often attributed to her parents' efforts to give her a healthy upbringing. The father and daughter are close, and Barack is always proud of Malia's actions. Barack Obama's actions and writings inspire people in 2025, and Malia Obama does well as a filmmaker and champion. This shows that the Obama heritage is one of intelligence, creativity, and kindness. Michelle Obama and Sasha Obama, both at 15 years old. At age 15, Michelle Obama and her daughter Sasha Obama were going through critical times that would change their lives. These times showed how resilient and unique they were. When she was at this age, Michelle grew up in Chicago, Illinois. It was clear that she was dedicated to school and helping others. She did very well in school at Whitney M. Young Magnet High School and got ready for her future at Princeton University. Michelle's early years were marked by her drive to go against social rules and her desire to make a positive difference. These traits would later shape her work as a lawyer, first lady, and health and education champion. On the other hand, Sasha Obama, the youngest daughter of former President Obama and Michelle Obama, was doing very well at age 15. At this point in her life, Sasha had already lived in the White House and combined her role as a public figure with her hobbies and schoolwork. Sasha, known for her ease and confidence, had started to pursue her creative interests, such as dance and singing, while still putting a lot of effort into her studies. Her public performances, often with her family, showed her maturity and ability to connect with others. Even though she grew up in the public eye, Sasha always seemed stable. This is often attributed to her parents trying to give her a healthy upbringing. The mother and daughter have a close relationship, and Michelle is always proud of what Sasha has done. In 2025, Michelle's work and writing continues to inspire, and Sasha grows into a strong and creative young woman. This shows that the Obama heritage is one of strength, kindness, and honesty. Prince William and Prince George, both at 10 years old. At age 10, Prince William and his son Prince George went through important events that shaped their lives and showed how responsible and poised they were. As the oldest son of Prince Charles and Princess Diana, William was growing up in the public eye at this age. His youth was shaped by the fact that both his parents were famous and the difficulties of living as a king. William did very well at Lutgrove School and became interested in sports, especially soccer and swimming. Being involved in royal events and nonprofit work as a child gave him a strong sense of duty that would later shape his role as Duke of Cambridge and King. At the same time, Prince George, the oldest child of Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, was doing very well. He was 10 years old. George was already becoming a more noticeable royal family member by this age. He went to public events and went with his parents on official trips. His schooling at Lambrook School focused on academic success and extracurricular activities like sports and theater, which shows that he had a well-rounded childhood. As the second in line to the throne, George had special duties. For example, he had to follow royal rules alone to protect the kingdom's future. Even though he was a prince, George was mature and sure of himself. This is often attributed to his parents' efforts to give him a healthy upbringing. As of 2025, William's work to support mental health and environmental causes continues to inspire, and George grows into a calm and capable young king. They show that the Wales heritage is one of beauty, resilience, and kindness. Kate Middleton and Princess Charlotte, both at 8 years old. Even though they were both 8, Kate Middleton and her daughter, Princess Charlotte, were already showing signs of their uniqueness and charm. Kate grew up in the village of Bucklebury in Berkshire. She was the oldest of 3 children in a close-knit family. She had many childhood outdoor adventures, loved sports, and worked hard in school. These things set her up to become a calm and accomplished public figure later. Kate did very well in school and sports outside of school, especially tennis and field hockey at St. Andrew's School. Family ideals and a sense of community were essential to her as a child, which would later define her role as Princess of Wales. As for Princess Charlotte, she was doing great as the second child of Prince William and Kate Middleton. She was 8 years old. Charlotte had already become more public as a royal family member by this age, attending public events and going with her parents on official duties. At Lambrook School, she was encouraged to do well in school and outdoor activities like dance and theater, showing her well-rounded childhood. Charlotte was known for having a strong and lively personality. She often charmed people with her calm manner and fun interactions with her brothers, Prince George and Prince Louis. Even though she grew up in the public eye, Charlotte's parents have worked hard to give her a healthy and stable childhood. In 2025, Kate's work to support mental health and early childhood development continues to inspire. At the same time, Charlotte grows into a strong and curious young queen, showing that the Wales family tradition is one of kindness, strength, and resilience. The King and Queen of Rock and Roll were both 25 years old. Elvis Presley and his daughter Lisa Marie Presley were both 25 years old at critical times in their lives, showing how charismatic and influential they were. At this point in his life, Elvis was already famous worldwide. His unique mix of rock and roll, gospel, rhythm, and blues changed the music industry forever. He had already had big hits like Heartbreak Hotel and Hound Dog, starred in hit movies like Love Me Tender, 1956, and became famous as the King of Rock and Roll. His electrifying performances and magnetic stage presence captivated audiences worldwide, solidifying his status as an entertainment pioneer. Lisa Marie Presley, who was 25 then, was getting her attention as the only owner of her father's estate, Graceland, which she got on her 25th birthday in 1993. Lisa Marie started to explore her musical skills at this age, and her debut record, To Whom It May Concern, came out in 2003. It showed off her beautiful singing and thoughtful lyrics. In the public eye, she spent her life trying to honor her father's memory while making her way. Lisa Marie showed strength and a strong link to her family's past, even though it was hard for her to grow up as Elvis's daughter. The father and daughter strongly bond because they love music and have affected pop culture. As of 2025, Elvis's influence still inspires people, and Lisa Marie's gifts to music and her family's history are still recognized.
If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon